Today we're going to be working with the red light pattern. So in the somatic world, red light means the front muscles on the front of the body, the flexor muscles of the trunk, are chronically contracted because of their response to stress in our life. So our automatic reaction to stress or a startle reflex is to protect ourselves. So we will often contract all of the muscles on the front of the body, which bring the spine into flexion. The arm bones in the shoulder sockets may start to internally rotate. The shoulders get pulled forward. Sometimes it even involves the legs so that the leg bones start to rotate in. We might draw the knees together. We tuck into this little ball to protect ourselves. So chronically repeated exposures to stress bombard the nervous system, and the nervous system responds by teaching the muscles to contract like that. And even though the stress may be relieved, our body doesn't quite know how to let go. Our nervous system doesn't know how to let go of that pattern. So those chronically contracted muscles may be holding us into a little bit of a red light pattern. So the practice today, the basic movements of the flower will address the flexor muscles of the trunk, as well as the internal rotation of the arms and the legs. So I'll meet you down on the floor. So come on down onto your back, lying in a comfortable position on your back. So if that means that you need to have a folded blanket under your head or under your back, then feel free to do whatever you need to do to support your body. So we come down onto our back in this bent knee position, and my arms are going to be out a little further from my sides, just so hopefully you can see the space. The shadow might not allow to notice what the spine's doing. So the movement starts with a flatten. So when we flatten the spine, we're going to start to draw the pubic bone towards the navel, which is going to start to press the lower back into the floor a little bit. And then feel and sense that contraction that's on the front of the belly between the ribs and the pelvis. And then you're going to slowly let that contraction release. And then try that a couple more times. So you're going to flatten the spine, the pelvis tips so that the pubic bone comes up more towards the sky. The tailbone tucks underneath between the thighs. And then you slowly release the pelvis back to that neutral position. Take it one more time. You're going to roll the pelvis back using those abdominal muscles. Some people like to cheat by pushing with their legs. So see if you can allow the legs to be just at ease and slowly release that abdominal contraction. From there, we're going to go into an arch. So the arch, you take your tailbone in the opposite direction. So the pubic bone and the tailbone went towards the sky. We're going to take the pubic bone and the tailbone towards the floor, which will start to arch the back slightly off the floor, and then you slowly release, letting the back come back towards neutral position. Try that again, taking just the tailbone towards the floor. You might feel those lower back muscles start to contract, the lumbar spine starts to lift. And then you're going to slowly let that go. Once you've completed that arch and flatten a couple of times, or the arch a couple of times, we'll go into the arch and flatten. So you're going to start to move into your flatten, bringing the pubic bone towards the ribs. And maybe it feels okay to bring your rib cage down towards your pubic bone. The front of the shoulders might get pulled into that contraction, and then you're going to slowly release the contraction, releasing it completely. Take that split second to notice that you're in neutral, and then go in the opposite direction. Take the tailbone towards the floor, and if it feels right, maybe even push your shoulder blades into the floor, and then sense the contraction on the back. Slowly release it. Draw the pubic bone through neutral, contracting the ribs towards the pubic bone towards the ribs. So we're making that rounded position in the spine. All of those flexor muscles on the front of the body are starting to contract. Slowly release. one more time, taking it back into your arch, pressing maybe the shoulders to the floor, moving in your comfort range so you're not wanting to be moving into pain. And then release one more time into the flatten. And slowly sensing and feeling that contraction, letting go as you settle back to neutral. From there, we're going to start to work with the internal rotation of the arms. So when we're lying on the floor, some people choose to have the arm bones turned down towards the floor, which will actually start to rotate the shoulders into that, what we call internal rotation. And then if we turn the arms over, we're opening them up into external rotation. So just play with that movement itself. And you might notice as you roll the arms over that the front of the shoulders relax just a little bit when you take the arms into that open position. So if we're really stuck in that red light, the front of the shoulders might be really tight. So we're going to work on releasing that. So first, without using the arms, we're just going to have the arms with the palms facing up towards the sky. I'm going to start to lift the front of the shoulders towards the sky. And feel the contraction on the front of the chest. If you were to even imagine a line going from the front of the shoulder to the center of the chest, think about following that line. And then feel that contraction. Slowly let the contraction release as you let your shoulders settle back towards the floor. Taking that a couple of times, contracting the pec muscles or the chest muscles, slowly letting them release. And then one more time, take them to the sky, contracting, slowly letting it go, and then go in the opposite direction. So if you were to push the shoulders towards the floor, and then slowly letting them go. So feel it as you press the shoulders towards the floor. Maybe you can sense there's a little contraction in the upper back, and then you slowly let that go. Then we're going to go back and forth. You're going to bring the shoulders to the sky, contracting on the front of the body. Slowly release the front of the shoulders and letting them go towards the floor, which is going to bring the contraction into the back of the body, opening the front of the shoulders a little bit more. And repeat that one more time. To the sky, and then down towards the floor. And letting that go. So working with the reference of the arms again, we're going to start to roll the palms over towards the floor. That will rotate the arms in the sockets. Then you want to bring the front of the shoulders towards the sky. Feel the contraction in the front of the chest all the way down to the arms. And then you're going to slowly, slowly release. Let the arms roll to the open position and then slowly start to take the shoulder blades towards the floor. Release your back muscles. Roll the arms in their sockets, palms turn down, shoulders lift towards the sky. And as you lift the shoulders towards the sky, you might even feel your rib cage starts to draw down towards the pelvis and the spine round slightly in the upper back. Releasing the chest, the arms, and then the shoulders go towards the floor. So we're going to add on to that. So you're going to roll the arms so the palms turn towards the floor. Shoulders lift. Now actively draw your ribs down as you bring your pubic bone towards the ribs, moving into that flatten. You might notice your head starts to arch, or the neck starts to arch. And then slowly release that contraction on the front of the body. Allow the arms to roll open. Take the tailbone towards the floor as your shoulders come towards the floor. And then slowly repeating that a couple of times. So we're involving the arms and the shoulder girdle in the arch and the flatten is essentially what we're doing. Moving towards the sky and then moving towards the floor of the spine arches. Rolling the arms, bringing them towards the sky. Pubic bone and ribs move towards each other. And then slowly release and take them in the opposite direction and finishing there. From there, step your feet a little bit wider. So they're a little bit wide on the mat, sort of towards the edge of your mat. So we're going to be working with internal and external rotation of the legs. So you might want to even have your hands on your pelvis down by where the hip creases are. And we're just going to start to let the knees drop open out towards the sides. And then bring them back in and bring the knees towards each other. Take that back and forth, opening up the legs and then slowly bringing them back together. So we're working on our inner thighs here and our outer thighs, our internal and external rotators of the hips. So again, you're going only as far as there's no pain, and you're taking the legs open, and then you're bringing the knees together. I'm going to add on to that. When you take the legs open, maybe it feels appropriate for you to start to take the pelvis into an arch. So the tailbone moves towards the floor and the lower back starts to lift. You might notice your shoulders press into the floor, and it might be comfortable to have the palms open. So feeling those contractions on the back of the body, release that. Let the shoulders roll towards the floor, legs come back in. And now when the legs come towards each other, draw your pubic bone towards the navel and the ribs. The ribs come down towards the pubic bone, the arms roll, palms down, and feel that contraction on the front of the body. Slowly release that contraction and opening up again. Arms roll open, legs open, pelvis moves into an arch. Take a nice deep breath here. Feel the space that your breath can move into. And then slowly release the contraction on the back side of the body. Roll the arms down, draw the knees in, and draw the ribs towards the pubic bone towards the ribs. Now try to take a deep breath again. It's pretty difficult to breathe in when we have those abdominal muscles all contracted. So slowly release. And allow yourself to move through that a couple more times as long as it feels comfortable. Knees open, arms open, shoulders press to the floor, tailbone presses to the floor, the spine's arching. As you release it, moving back into the flatten and the internal rotation of the arms and releasing it. Finish off with one more, opening up. Closing the petals. This is called the flower because it's like we're opening and closing the petals. And then slowly release yourself back to neutral and just pause on your mat. Take a breath in and a breath out. So there's your practice. A simple practice to help your body release the impact of stress that sometimes brings us into that red light pattern. Thanks. We'll see you soon.